Hey guys, Ben Pearson, the Roadster Tracker. We are back with our Eve adventures, and we have successfully orbited Eve with our spacecraft. Let's screenshot this here real quick. So we got our ball return spacecraft and our Eve ascent spacecraft. Hopefully this will do. So right now our orbit is too high. We're roughly equatorial, which is good. We're just gonna warp around here and start slowly lowering ourselves down by atmospheric effects only. I don't know how much of an effect this is gonna have, so we'll see. Really, we want to just barely dip into the atmosphere. And honestly, we're only going 5 kilometers in. Let's just keep an eye on this APC, 80,000 kilometers. We're hoping that one pass through the atmosphere may dip us down. I don't know. A fair bit. I would say based off of how much it's lowering us, we could take a little bit deeper dive into the atmosphere. So we have only lowered ourselves maybe a couple thousand kilometers. It's not really enough. So what we're gonna do is warp until here. What? Come on, game. All right, let's see. Whatever our last save was. Please tell me we're in the orbit of Eve, please. Okay. This is fine then. Oh wait, are we in orbit? Yes, we are in orbit. Okay. Whew. Beginning of the past, that's all. Not a big deal. So we're gonna warp through here. So we could probably dip down to maybe 83. I think is what we're gonna shoot for. That sounds good. $89 and 90. Okay. So we're going to lock ourselves here. And we're gonna hit retrograde and just the tiniest hint of slowing us down here. Next time we burn here, it's going to be at prograde. Yeah. I forgot how long the pointing. Oy. It's going to take forever. Yeah. No, it won't take that long. And it's good to be careful at this. But then again, we're only going 47 meters per second. Even just the slightest burn will cause us. No, we're gonna skip this. If we burn too much, then it's just too risky. Too risky. Let's just time warp to the other end and we will watch as we slow down. We're in the shadow and this is where we're gonna start to slow down somewhat. Yeah, our Up Oasis is dipping more. in this pass. So this is good. At this rate, I'd say we have maybe 5 or 6 passes to do. It's going to take a little while, and you know, I'll tell you what, I'll end this episode when we have a low Earth Eve orbit. So if you guys just want to skip through this, you can just skip on to the next episode. It's fine. We'll make sure that there's nothing too terrible, but I do want to record this for posterity, if nothing else. So we're looking better. Let's warp to about here. And we're about 50 kilometers at the far point. 50 meters per second, I mean. Periapsis is still pretty close to where it was. I'm actually just gonna warp through to here again. Whoops. So that did one of the atmosphere cheats. Sometimes it just will skip it if you are going too fast through it. It's fine. All right. So we have 500 meters per second with pushing this entire hefty spacecraft. So we'll just keep the orientation here. Let's lock on 10x. I think that should be good. And it'll slow us down to 4x once we hit the 90s. Yep, there we go. For safety. Safety first, Kerbals. Safety first. It's too bad all of this is happening in the dark side, because otherwise we could do some cool screenshots, but you know, orbital dynamics, they happen where they happen, and we have no way to backfill the light, so it's just gonna look horrible on YouTube, but it looks pretty cool on my computer. Compression algorithms, so they kill the video. So it looks like we'll be below 70,000 kilometers after we return from this. Oh, no, we'll be about there. It's interesting this is going higher. Okay. Let's warp to here. Wouldn't be surprised if we end up doing a ghillie flyby at some point in time. We're certainly gonna give it lots of opportunities. And we are fairly close to the plane right here, so there's a chance that it'll affect it. Not really much to see. Well, it's pretty cool. Good night, Eve. Good night, sun, as we're going into Eve. And as soon as the sun sets, then that's when the craziness starts and the ship starts shaking from the violent atmosphere of Eve. Not really, but it sounds cool. We're actually still speeding up, which is kind of interesting. Why are we not getting... We don't seem to be slowing down very much at all. Okay, now we're slowing down. That pass... We did not change very much. Interesting. All right, well, whatever. We may have to, but we'll try one more attempt to not have to do a maneuver out here to dip us down deeper into the atmosphere. But if that's all the further we make it, then we're gonna have to do something different. Amazing how much the speed goes up at just the last little bit. Those Kepler's laws. I mean, we're going up 300 meters per second just at the last little scooch. We're still increasing, which is not a huge surprise. Okay, our apoasis is dropping. I'd love to see my periapsis drop a little bit more, but it's going to take some time before it'll do that, I think. Our orbital speed is basically constant now. It's actually going, well, it's going down because we're going further out. This time we should dip below 70,000 kilometers, but this is a little slower than I would like it to be. We seem like we're picking up some of our speed that we lost too. All right, I think it's time. Well, screw it. Let's just warp to here. I am gonna actually have it point prograde while we get in close this time, because that will be close to the retrograde and we have to do the maneuver through the atmosphere at slower speeds anyways, so we may as well take advantage of that fact and orient our spacecraft the right way. Screenshot. Okay. We're still not quite in the atmosphere yet, but we're pretty close, and we're slowly adjusting our orientation. I'm actually surprised at how little the periapsis has changed. Usually when you do these aerobraking maneuvers, it will change the periapsis a little bit, but I guess we're in such an elliptical orbit that the change really is happening almost entirely right at the periapsis. So I guess that makes sense. Okay, we're getting a little bit more change this time than the last few have, but it's still not huge. I guess we're pointed a little bit less streamlined, which probably helps. It's part of why I wanted to do this. Yeah, this is going to take some time. I will not blame those people who stick out, but I appreciate those people who are sticking out through all of this slow mode. It really helps the algorithm, and, you know, being as small of a YouTuber as this channel is, even though I have a bigger channel, even my big channel is not that big. It has 5,000 subs. It's enough to be an accomplishment, but not huge. And that's my space education YouTube channel, which my last video had nothing really to do with space. So there's that. Anyways, let's warp to here. We're going to lock on the retrograde. Speeding up here a fair bit, which is a good sign. So we'll make this a little bit more precise, although with the nuclear engine it should be pretty precise. Okay, so that took us down. We're gonna go about 1 kilometer deeper into the atmosphere this time. I think we've gained enough trust in the upper atmosphere that we can, you know, go just a little bit deeper, try to dig our toes in and see what the mysteries of the planet hold. Yeah, I'm gonna go back to retrograde. That'll slow us down a little bit more than we would otherwise. It's amazing how quickly we're moving over the surface of this planet. Orbital velocity is crazy high. Now, granted, we don't have to get quite this high, but we'll have to be fairly close. Okay, we see our apoasis is dropping much more than it did last time. Last several times. But we're, dipping a little bit deeper, which means that A, we're going through thicker atmosphere, and B, we're staying in the atmosphere for longer. And it will also change our periapsis to be a little bit lower. But we're still looking good for at least one more pass at this altitude without any issues. I'd like to use less than 100 meters per second of our delta V, so we have at least 400 for the trip home. This feels good. Let's go ahead and just do a rinse and repeat of this. Takes a little time to get around. 7 days, and it used to be more. And that's from near periapsis, so it's a 14-day orbit. It's longer than the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter, which was 35 hours, which is the mission I'm most familiar with that did aerobraking. I worked with that mission for a little while. It was fun. I was a part of the high-rise team. It took high-resolution pictures of Mars, still does to this day. They have like 3 or 4% of the surface of Mars in high resolution. Pretty neat. I had a very small part to do with that. Okay. So we're still speeding up. Not for much longer. No, we're still speeding up even as we approach our periapsis. That is normal to get faster the closer you are to the periapsis, but even the atmosphere drag just doesn't seem to be doing as much. But this time we're pointed pretty much straight at it. I'm gonna turn off stability control. We're gonna let ourselves tumble through the atmosphere a little bit more. Okay. Let's warp for the next one. Okay, looking fine. Big giant ball is still being ballsy. It's amazing how little air resistance that thing is getting. Well, we're doing fine. Not lowering as much as we had been. So I think we're going to deliberately introduce some variation in the orientation next go around. Well, why not do it now? So we'll put ourselves a little bit more side on. In fact, let's just go side on for the next pass. It took something like 6 months for the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter to use the same kind of process, but they were using their solar panels to adjust the orbit. So they cut, like we did, it's a lot cheaper to get into a highly elliptical orbit, and then you could use the atmosphere of Mars to slow you down. First time it was ever tried actually was on the Magellan mission, which went to Venus, which is EVE analog, so it seems appropriate for us to do this. And for there, it was not planned, it was just a kind of bonus little attempt. Proof of concept, but the proof of concept worked well enough that we did it in future Mars missions. Getting pretty close. I want to see this go down to like 40. This approach. You can do it, game. We got faith in you. Wow. I'm even getting a little bored. I may trim some of this down. I don't know. You guys will know. Trimming videos is a pain. We're into the 40s at least. We're going back up, but I think we'll hit 45 maybe. All of this will make a huge difference because the lower we're going, the easier it is for our ascent vehicle to make it up. And our ascent vehicle has had to go on a bit of a diet to survive everything that we've been tossing at it. So we don't want it to be too problematic. Oh, that's much better. We'll just warp through one more time. We're getting closer to you, Eve. The last, well, this may be the closest that this ball ever gets to the surface of Eve. That's really, we don't want it to get much closer than it will happen in the aerobrake. We want to have the orbit we dump it in be about 100-kilometer orbit, roughly. Lower would even be better. If we could somehow pull that off. $45. And we're going back up. Still, we're dipping more. We could probably do another burn to get us in even deeper, but I'm okay with taking our time here with Eve. Eve is a scary, scary monster. It is the big, giant purple menace of Kerbal. So we're gonna take our time approaching it. We're gonna, explore out our potential launch sites, all kinds of stuff. There's no hurry. There's really no hurry to getting there. So let's see here. At 100, we're at 4480. And then let's see what we are when we hit 100 on the other side. We should be down to like 4485 or something. So every time we're spending longer in the atmosphere and we're dipping a little bit lower. So between the two of those, then we should, you know, see more results. So this time we're finally below 40. We're still on our way up too, so 40 megameters. Really, I think it'll only be a couple of more passes. We said 4480 and we are 4470. So we lost 10 meters per second during that pass. Not bad. And this should be the same 4470, and then, you know, we're trying to keep an eye on how this is being affected. I wish I could just build a bigger spacecraft to do this, but man, you guys should have seen the number of launch attempts. I spent like 3 or 4 hours last night just trying to get a ship that would not blow up on the launch pad. I probably could have just added more struts and got some of those to work, but I like this ship. Our passes at least are happening in the daytime of Eve, so we can look down at the surface and get some sense of the horrible, horrible decision that Valentina has made to actually come here. She's really questioning that decision, especially when they're having this high of speed, this high up. It's insane. Looks like we'll be down to maybe 35, maybe even a little bit lower. I don't know how much of a difference this is really making, though. I mean, it's just a little bit of extra speed, but it will make a difference. I gotta keep reminding myself of that. And that's also, the elliptical orbits are just harder in general to come back from. Because you have to line them up at the right spot, and so yeah. 66. Let's go ahead and 4x warp this. We should be fine. If we don't get below 30 this time, though, I'm going to just do the rest of this offline, because this is taking too long. I'll be sure to let you know how things went. But yeah, you know, it's a patience game, but it is making a difference. We've saved already like 50 meters per second or more of delta V by doing this, and we will continue to save more and more. The amount will increase as time goes on, and we've done more of these dips. Almost surprised. I mean, we may still hit Gilly at some point in time. Tell you what. Let's go ahead. 32. We're gonna do just a little bit more of a dive down into the atmosphere. We're gonna hit, we're at 83 now. We're gonna go for 82. It should help speed things up a little, Scooch. (105 meters per second) speed here at our farthest point. That has increased significantly. It's kind of cool. Okay, looking fine. I'm just gonna go ahead and do this. Yeah, that's fine. So let's go to a more normal and we'll just warp to here. It's fine. So first pass through at a lower dip. Let's see how she blows. In KSP1, I think this kind of dip, you have to have some serious air shield even just to do a dip this high, which seems wrong. So we were at 4480, we're at 4460 now. 64. Okay. 4x, we'll take a peek here. Come on, take this way down. We're still speeding up as we're going down. That's a sign that... And this is even as we're approaching our minimum point. It's a sign that we probably could be dipping further down. Not gonna lie. Still, we hit below 30 that pass, and we're still fairly low. Okay. Progress. My last video on my space education channel actually had to do with figuring out how the Earth is round, and also had to do with another thing that I've done a fair number of videos on this channel recently, Climber the Sky is the Limit. Talking about the figuring out how high the highest peaks are in the world was done at the same time as we figured out what the shape of the Earth is. Same survey, you had to do a big giant survey, and that survey was done of India. So they could also keep an eye on the mountains of Nepal, the Himalayas, and figure out how tall they are. So we're looking okay. So we could have probably gone as low as 80 from the very beginning, but I don't think we'd want to go much lower than that for the aerobraking. That's good to know. And those of you who are sticking this out, you're getting good advice on how to do your own aerobraking missions, right? I don't think we're even going to hit 25 though, this pass. Yeah, I think we need to lower this some more. So we're going to put this on prograde, which is going to be retrograde when we're pointed the opposite direction. And we're going to dip down to, I think, 80. At least another kilometer we can dip easily. Okay, we're gonna try this. Go below 80. We'll see how things work from here. I'm gonna leave it on retrograde pointing for when we get back because I don't really trust this. I think there's gonna be some issues. But it's important to aerobrake slowly and surely and steadily to make sure we get this right. We're in like the 4450 range at 100 kilometers, so that's interesting. Wish the time warp doohickey would also take into account the speed, because if you're going relatively slow, then you don't need, you could do a times 10x warp and it wouldn't cause any issues. But oh well, they'll get there someday, I'm sure. The music is super excited for me to actually be at Eve and getting slowly closer and closer to the surface. Okay, this was a good dip. It looks like we were successful. So we can take another go around. Yeah, I think that's what we're gonna do. We'll do a go around, but we're gonna change our orientation. Now we're getting really close to Gilly. This would be the time that if we were gonna have a Gilly encounter, it would probably happen. But I don't think we're lined up anywhere close to the right attitude to do that, so that's fine. So I think this should take us below 20. Yeah, this is a long recording, that's fine. 4480 at the 90 kilometer mark. And then we'll see what it is. We're still speeding up. Ooh, that's pretty. Don't think it would make a very good picture, but it's pretty. Eve seems to be a little bit more forgiving than it has been, but maybe that's just the atmospheric effects. Okay. We're at 4480. We didn't dip down that much. The amount that we're slowing down is slowing down, oddly enough. Well, the altitude change. But then again, we 10 meters per second slower here. Let's hit let's hit retrograde and we're just gonna warp to here. We'll do another dip down. We'll go down to maybe 78. Yeah, that seems fine. Yeah, this should be fine. Let's go ahead and time warp to here. If we wanted to do a ghillie flyby, this would be the time to do it. But alas, we will not. Okay, this is looking good. 4470 roughly. How much are we gonna slow down this go around? We better be down to like 4450 or something. Our Oasis is dropping quite a bit. It seems like we're definitely slowing down more than we had been. Although there again, our dip is not that much. Still reads us as mostly vacuum. Which is what you want to use for a aerobraking maneuver. You just want to barely be under the radar. And when we hit here, we're 44. Yeah, we can slow down even more. We're gonna keep going. Once we hit there, we're gonna get down to, let's go down to 75. Whoops. Pointed in the wrong direction to that, but that's fine. We just gotta wait for a minute here, nice and slow. Maybe no. At the beginning of the next video, I'll say what the final aerobraking altitude was, for posterity's sake. Excuse me. Whew. That kind of stuff is important to know. It really does not want to get us over there, does it? Well, we are lowering. It's changing the inclination, which does... No, I don't really want to change the inclination any. Okay, 76 is good. I think we want to anti-normal here. Yeah, I don't like our inclination, and we're moving slow enough that we could easily correct it. So let's go ahead and do this. This will no doubt save us a lot of fuel later on. Except for it takes forever to do. I'll tell you what, guys. This has gone on long enough. You're seeing the process they are breaking. Next time, we're going to stop with a nice equatorial orbit around Eve, and I'll let you know how it went. Thank you guys so much for joining me. Let me know whatever questions or comments you guys have. And thank you guys for everything. I really appreciate all of your support and encouragement. Until next time, keep on tracking and take care, guys. We'll see you next time.